Our first guest is Pam Farrel, and as you know, Pam is the author of a ton of great books, including one of my favorite books, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti. Pam's newest book is a collaboration with Jean Jones and Carla Dornacher, published by Harvest House and entitled Discovering Hope in the Psalms. It's an 8-week study. It's a creative Bible study, including lots of awesome coloring pages and creativity boosters. Each chapter includes an engaging study of 1 to 2 Psalms, guides you through a writing project, and also gives you options for creative expression. While it is an 8-week study, there are also 9 and 17-week options explained in the Leader's Guide at the beginning of the book, and there are a lot of resources available over at the website discoveringhopeinthepsalms.com. And you have to get at those extras, you go way up to the top and click on the word that says extras up there. It took me a little while to find it, but it's there for you. And there's fun stuff over there. So the daily lessons are by Jean and are some of the most in-depth Bible studies available. I mean, these are super, it looks like a fun coloring book, but then you get in and it's like, wow, deep Bible study. So if you love a deep Bible study, you're going to love Jean's lessons. Carla is the creative genius behind the study, and she's sharing full-page coloring sheets as well as bookmarks and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And our guest today, Pam Farrel, she is providing the Hope Alive sections. And these are going to be in each chapter. You'll find these, and it's a lot of fun. I'm going to bring you on right now. Hi, Pam.
Thanks. Awesome introduction. Thanks for sharing the Discovering Hope in the Psalms Bible study. I'm so excited because already we've had such a great response, and like more than 24 like top Bible study teachers and leaders, including Kay Arthur and just
cool.
A host of other Bible scholars have endorsed it. And that just makes you feel good when people that love the Word as much as you do and have taught it longer than you endorse. So that was a pretty exciting day.
That's awesome. And it is kind of, I think your books maybe surprised me the most of any of the books because it's so fun and whimsical on the cover that I thought maybe it would be light and whimsical inside, and the coloring sheets are so. But then you get into it and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much depth here. Just really deep Bible studies by Jean. And I'm not familiar with Jean until this book. And she's got a gift. She can take you.
Jean is a wonderful Bible teacher. She's married to Dr. Clay Jones, who's on Viola's apologetics team. And Jean and I have been friends for several decades now. And she's a very talented Bible teacher. And she helps draw you into the Word and then draw things out of the Word. And one of the things that I loved is how God put the whole thing together, and that is Jean sent me the original transcript, and she said, would you mind editing it? And I looked at the title, Discovering Hope in the Psalms, and we had just put our house on the market to move, like downsize 95% of our stuff, sell our home, move up near Bill's aging 89-year-old parents. And we were exhausted from commuting to do that for 3 years. And I needed some hope. And I'm like, sure, I'll edit this. And I had no idea the treasure trove, the blessings that God was going to give to me. Some of the verses like, God is the strength of my life and my portion forever. And that word strength means your strong stone mountain of refuge that you can run to and protected. And I'm like, that's exactly what God did. Well, I edited the Discovering Hope in the Psalms, and then we brought it during that time. There was a few creative things in there, Psalms, and I went back and I said, Jean, I really think that you have a gold mine here if we really help women be creative, because there's this whole set of women that love to be creative, and sometimes they don't feel like Bible studies for them. And your gift in helping women go deep, but yet creative, that's so unique. What if we talk to one of my friends who's a fabulous artist, Carla, and see if she would add her art? And so we pitched that idea to Harvest House, and Harvest House said, well, Pam, would you be willing to do the devotional element and add in, because you've written so many books, add in to help women have the motivation to get into the Word and to stay in the Word and to see how the Word will be life-changing to them. And that's why they call my section Hope Alive, because it's helping the Word be alive in your life.
Oh, that's so cool. I want you to go ahead and turn to page 21 while I'm talking here for a minute. You guys, this is an 8.5 by 11 book with 220 pages. It's black and white, but it won't be for long because you're going to get your coloring colors out. Mine is all colored up. I love it. And I wanted to just have you read for us a little bit. I'm going to kind of introduce it in this Hope Alive section. I'm going to read a little bit and then have you read the last two paragraphs on page 21, Pam. It starts with, I prayerfully savored the fruit of these studies on walks down my tree-lined driveway. I sketched a tree with deep roots. In short, I sat in the shades of this Psalm 1 tree and reflected on my own life. Go ahead, Pam.
Reflected on my own life. Then, in God's perfect timing, the tree on our property fell. A strong wind and a raging storm didn't topple it. Nope, the cause was a beetle that can do damage only in drought conditions. And in California, we have been on strict water rationing for almost a decade-long drought. The tree appeared healthy, but because of its lack of water, it was dead inside. It was a vivid reminder of what kind of tree I did not want to become, and the living water and lots of it would be the difference. Turn on the soaker hose, pull out the sprinklers, and get out your watering can by reading, memorizing, worshiping, meditating on, and creatively responding to the psalms God is placing along your path. This study will deepen the roots of your life and help you find and hang on to hope. As you trek through the forest of verses, make note of the towering evergreen trees. You and other students of the Word will be made strong by the streams of study. We know you will enjoy the journey up the mountain peak of hope. Take it from a fellow explorer. You will love the view from the top.
Beautiful. That was the first, and just not even the whole thing of the Hope Alive section, but the first one. And I want us to pop over and I'm going to read a little bit off of page 68 too here. I'm trying to help you guys get a feel for Pam's writing style. She's going to just share these like personal stories and really pull you into the application side of things where you're starting to say, but how does it apply to my life? But how does it apply to my life? So on page 68, I'm just going to read from the second paragraph. I once drew a colorful, creative, biblical expression of all the ways David begged God to free him from his sinful baggage. Blot, wash, cleanse, justify, purge, hide, create, renew, restore, uphold, and so on. When David grasped that God rescues, a glimmer of hope became a resolve of obedience and dedication. This study brings out a lot of your own journey and kind of how you get a hold of God. Like you just grab his apron strings and you're like, okay, you got to talk to me. I love how your own journey comes out in this and how you model for us a way to be truly authentic before God and with God.
Thanks. And, one of the things that I really wanted to do is like help women see how I process a Bible study and how I create also, because there's an artist that God planted inside of me. I think there's an artist in every woman. We just express it in different ways. For years, most of mine has been through words, but I also love photography and I love drawing and Bible art journaling. And so I explain like how I work the Bible through my life. And I call it the PRIDE, a system of creative biblical expression. And it's the only time that it's good to be proud, because what you really are is whatever you do, do it heartily unto the Lord and not unto man. Colossians, let's be excellent in all that we do. And so the series of steps that I take are pray before I begin the Bible study. And I pray something really simple like, Lord, let my expressions be both biblical and beautiful to give you the glory. And then read the entire chapter, the verse you've selected to draw. I like to write out the verses, in fact, that I'm working on. So I slow down and I see the patterns, the keywords, word pictures that I may be sensing that God is going to call me to draw. Then I investigate, and I use the bridge method, which is just a simple inductive Bible study method that I named the Bridge, because it looks at observation and then interpretation, then application. So it bridges from the Bible to your life. And so that means digging in, looking at key phrases, and looking at the history and answering questions. I typically just write out a bunch of questions, then I go digging for the answers. And then dissect the passage. And that's when you look deeper into those words themselves. And it's just like so powerful what God can show you just in a word. For example, really the key verse, I think, in the Discovering Hope in the Psalms series is Psalms 71:14. I will hope continually and praise you yet more and more. And when we read that verse, we're like, wow, I want my hope to be continual. And when you look up the word continual, it means growing, increasing, surpassing. It's kind of a picture of a geyser that just keeps going and going and going. And we're like, yes, I want that kind of hope that's always springing up fresh in my life. And then we're like, well, how? How do I get that kind of hope? And God is so good. He answers it right there in that verse. I will praise you yet more and more. And that word more and more means to accumulate praise. Just like you would walk through a garden and gather up beautiful flowers, or you would walk through the mall and buying, Christmas presents, and you gather up bags as you walk through the mall. You can accumulate praise. And so for me, in a real practical way, in my bullet journal, I begin by writing out my prayer requests and writing scripture around those prayer requests. And then as God answers them, I drew a really pretty picture of a sun with some rays, so I can accumulate the praise on the rays. And there's even at discoveringhopeinthe.com, you can download a printable that you can hang on your fridge, that you can write down your prayer request, and then a bouquet where you write down the answers. So that would be the dissect, to dig in deeper for some of those words and phrases that will have deep meaning to your life, and then express the knowledge that you gained about the verse and God and application. And you can choose images and fonts and colors and all kinds of ways to express, whether it's digitally or whether it's in a Bible art journal. I love the Thrive Bible by Tyndale, and I have a Crossway Bible art Bible as well. And the cool part of the Bible study, the Discovering Hope in the Psalms Bible study, is we made the margins really big, and there's big empty spaces, so you actually can do your creative biblical expression right in the Bible study. So it's an all-encompassing. You go deep in the Word. It's like a wonderful, like a Lifeway study, a Bethmore, a K. Arthur precept. It's that rich of a Bible study. But then there's this wonderful creative side, and Carla is an award-winning, amazing artist, and so beautiful drawings. And then if you want to freelance like I do, lots of space to do it right in the Bible study.
So cool. Unless you guys think that Pam's was the only creative voice in the book, that's not true. Jean actually comes through with awesome stories too. I want to just read a little bit off of page 133 here. It's chapter 6, Psalm 42 to 43, Finding Hope When Downcast. And the subtitle is the question, how do we pray when sadness overwhelms us and God seems distant? I love this story that she writes. She puts on her best dress, catches her straight blonde hair up in her prettiest barrette, and sits down on the nubby couch, fidgeting while she waits to see if her mom will make her weekly appointment. Mom seldom does. She finally gives up and rises to leave. We, her foster parents, ask if she wants to talk about it. No, I don't want to talk about it. I'm fine, she insists as she marches off, shutting her bedroom door behind her a little too loudly. That night, she hates something about dinner or a stupid class assignment. The next day, something at school makes her mad, really mad. She comes home yelling about the teachers she hates and the school she hates. We ask gently, do you want to talk about your mom not showing up? No, this isn't about my mom. It's everybody else. A day or two later, something doesn't go her way, and she erupts into a screaming fury. Angry tears stream down her hot, flushed face, and strands of damp hair cling to her cheeks. Clay gently but firmly guides her to the room, and I follow. I hate you, I hate you. I hate the judge who won't let me live with my mom. I hate all of you. Her words spew like lava from a volcano until all the hurt and hate and anger are out. Then her fury yields to wails. heart-wrenching sobs. Finally, exhausted, she stills, her face lighter pink and red askew. In a quiet and weary voice laden with sorrow, she says, I want to sleep. She crawls beneath the covers, fully clothed, and we leave, softly closing the door behind us. She sleeps an hour or two. Then she calls softly from her room, Dad? Yes? Come hold me? Clay rushes to her room and gathers her up, one arm under his knees and the other behind her back, and locks his fingers. She throws her arm around his neck, nestles her face into his shoulder. He rocks her for as long as she wants. Until comforted, she smiles up at him and says, Okay. Jean writes, our foster daughter feared being disloyal to the mom she so desperately wanted to want her. She tried not to feel difficult emotions like anger and hurt. She pulled away from us and everyone who might glimpse the pain she couldn't really hide, until it exploded against those whom with she was safe to be angry. Like her, sometimes we try not to feel difficult emotions. Perhaps we fear God, or friends will think we're disloyal to God. We tell God and others, and even ourselves, we're fine. We pull away from God so he won't see what's inside. And then she launches into the lament section of the chapter, and we got to close this down, you guys. I'd love to share more here, but you guys got to get the book. Pam, thank you for writing it. Thank you for editing it. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for your life and your ministry.
Oh, God bless you. I'm just so excited because my co-authors and I are all first-generation believers, and the Bible has been the hope of our life. And in Psalms 42, it says that God sends forth his truth, and that means he dispatches. He sends it out on a mission to accomplish what we need in our lives. And that's what I want for all your listeners, so I hope they will discover hope too.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the book. You guys got to check it out. Discovering Hope in the Psalms by Pam Farrel.